Good morning, beautiful world. I am really very, very happy to be back with you. It's been a little while since I have done a 11:08 transmission, and yeah, really intense times that we are in. And so I have been in my cave working on some new projects and going really, really deep into my own shadow. And like so many of you, it's just an incredible time. It's a very, very challenging time. And that's why I wanted to share this transmission today, working with extreme parts of us, extreme beliefs, extreme thought systems, because now it's so ripe. It is the time to be speaking to the extreme thought patterns and parts of us and belief systems that we hold. So I feel that right now we are in this pressure cooker situation. And let me grab my tea. We're already in a space, in a galactic space, astrological space. Our planet is already going through some very intense energies of the galaxy, the universe, of the solar system, and the rest of it. It's been prophesized for thousands of years by different tribes that we are going to enter into this new cycle, which we are in. And there was this death of the old and rebirth of the new, because we're coming into this new energetic space where we're literally being pummeled with this high vibrational energy. And so we're like little tiny ants on this planet. And of course, the pressure of all of that, the astrological events, the star systems, the different densities of energy in different parts of the universe, when that impacts us, it impacts us big. We really feel it as this tiny little ant being pummeled with this energy. And so we've already been going through incredible shifts. And this is very much affecting our consciousness, right down to the fundamental core of who we are. It's affecting our body's energy systems. It's affecting our mind, because they're all parts of our whole energy system, and they all work together, and they're all going to be impacted by the external energies coming in. And we're naturally evolving as human race, as a planet, because our consciousness, our energy is being raised, our consciousness is being raised. And those of us that are practicing, so we are actively working with our mind, with our body, with our energy systems, with our emotional systems, with our consciousness, it's like we're allowing for this change to take place. We're creating that buffering system within us so that we are no longer just simply affected by the energies that meet us. We learn to embody that energy, to channel that energy, to move that energy through our system, as we recognize that we are connected to the earth, and that energy, we're like antennas, that energy can come right through and ground through us. So as we work with this, it's okay. But those of us that aren't working with us, it becomes very, very challenging, because we literally get frazzled by these energies, and these energies have nowhere to go because we're not working through them. So that's one thing that's already happening. And because of the broader system that we're in, because of these natural cycles of evolution, of galactic movements and evolution, where we're moving, as this energy comes through us, it's going to sift right through and shift the old dense energy that we are carrying. Because when this high vibrational energy comes in, that's what it does. It literally is like blasting out this old dense energy that sits within our systems. And this is energy connected to the burdens of trauma that we've experienced. It's related to our karma. So our karma is our conditioned identity. So that trauma occurred and we took on the burdens of that, and our mind adjusted itself. Our thought patterns, our belief systems adjusted themselves, and to form ultimately layers of protection to protect us from that stuff ever happening again, because there's that memory of this trauma, there's a memory of how bad it was. And so the mind forms these layers and layers of protection, and that becomes our own individual conditioned identity. So we go through a process of actually conditioning ourselves through the way that our own mind forms and these layers of protection forms. And that conditioning creates our reality, it creates our identity, and we move forward with this identity based on what happened to us in the past. And that karma gathers more and more of this dense energy as we really kind of blend and roll with that karma, as we just accumulate more and more of it. Okay. And that karma also can accumulate over past lives too, because we shed between lives as much as we can, but we often carry like a flavor with us, right? A flavor that our soul is kind of picking up and accumulating over past lives. And I very much have felt with this life that I've had these flavors, that I've been carrying for the past life. And I know that this life has very much been like a pause for me to look at that and clear that, because we have the ability to clear this stuff, this karma, the burdens of the trauma that we carry. And then also there's the dense kind of energy we carry on a day-to-day basis, more of a short term. So our worries, our anxieties, our fears, our doubts, our stresses, we pick that up and we store that here in our solar plexus. And when we don't release it with the technology that we have as a human, that drops down and it sits in the lower chakras, in the sacral, where our trauma is stored, our ancestral trauma also, and then lower down in the root, which is our fear, and again, this conditioned identity, this fear accumulates down in our root, and we don't realize. And so what's happening out there in the world right now, so let's take the example of the thing that's just completely here to give us an opportunity to evolve as human consciousness, is what happened to George Floyd. Now, this is, yes, an incredibly sad, devastating event that occurred. And what it shows to me is that, these events have a deep synchronicity, okay? It's come at a time where we are already going through these energetic galactic shifts, as I've spoken about, and we are in this global pandemic situation. Again, another synchronicity, another situation brought to us to help us evolve as a human race, to show us and remind us that we have sterilized our land, we have sterilized our homes, and whilst we've polluted our environment, those two things have come together and have created weakened immune systems in us. Okay, where those viruses that are meant to come in and correct our immune system and teach our immune system how to function, now cause harm, to us, to some people who do not have the immune systems to withstand. Those of us that do have the immune systems to withstand it, our immune systems are going to grow, they're going to learn, and they're going to be stronger for next time. And we're going to be resistant to the viruses again in the future. So viruses aren't a bad thing. So this situation's happened, and it's triggered so much divisiveness. It's triggered so much anger and frustration. We're looking at each other and judging each other for our behaviors, and we're afraid of each other. We're afraid of each other, of catching something from one another. Each person that you meet on the street becomes a threat. And that's a very, very difficult, challenging space for us to be in. But again, I'm meeting so many people who recognize the synchronicity of this event at this point in their life and the history of the human race, and recognize that it's here to help us evolve, to grow, to become stronger and more resilient as a human race, and to become resistant to certain fears. It's all the same kind of structures. Whether we're looking at the immune system and the physical body, whether we're looking at the emotional system, it's all parallel thinking that can be applied to one another. These are all here to help us be stronger. The thing with the George Floyd incident is that it's come on top. It's like a triple whammy effect, okay? And it's leveraged what we're already gone through and multiplied the effect of it. So this situation with George Floyd and that policeman is triggering within us the most fundamental trauma, the most fundamental of karma that lies deep within each and every one of us. Because we all have got parts of us that at one point didn't get seen or heard or recognized by somebody else, and we felt that that was because of the color of our skin, or because of our age, or because of our position in society, our class, our job description, or whatever that was. We all have got parts of us that feel that at some point have experienced some sort of discrimination or prejudice. And yes, George Floyd's situation was much more extreme than anything I've ever experienced in many ways, because he lost his life as a result of that. And I'm not absolutely in any way comparing what he went through with anything that you and I have been through, but I'm just connecting the dots here of what is going on. So this is bringing up these fundamental traumas, these fundamental triggers, because we have not yet healed them. And this is going to the very core of what it is to be a human being on planet Earth right now. Because these kinds of prejudice and discrimination is not new. Yes, people from an African background have been discriminated in the early modern history in the last 300, 400, 500 years through slavery, but this isn't something that we haven't seen before in the past for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, potentially tens of thousands of years. Discrimination, inequality has prevailed on this planet. Okay, there have been species that have come to this planet that have been used and abused as slaves for hundreds of thousands of years, that have been manipulated into serving here on this planet. And many believe that we are the legacy of that. There have been tribes, there have been whole tribes, there have been whole nations of people, there have been groups of people that have been enslaved, that have been discriminated for thousands and thousands of years, that have been pushed about, forced to leave their homes, leave their land, move on, that have had their resources taken away from them. So this isn't something new. And so this goes back to our DNA. When we're thinking about ancestral trauma, we can also look at this from the perspective of our ancestors thousands of years ago. And these traumas, these challenges have come through the coding of our DNA. So when this happens now, and it's all over the news thanks to social media, the internet, We are being brought up face to face with our opportunities to heal. We are seeing minute by minute how that man died, how he was held down and he was suffocated and he died. His body died. His spirit never ever dies. And we watch that minute by minute, absolutely devastated. But what we're really doing is we're peering into a mirror of ourself. We're peering into a mirror of what we are capable of as a humanity. Because there are people that stood by and they did their best, yes. But again, another mirror, we stand by and we watch this thing happen day in and day out. And these things persist. So we're face to face with our trauma, with what we are capable as a human race, what we have in some ways done to others in the past. We have pacified and suppressed others so they felt that they couldn't speak and express themselves, and a part of them died. And we've had that done to ourselves. And we're being shown this because it's time for us to shift this. We can no longer go on like this. And we're being shown that this is what we do to one another. And we've got to rise through this together. Yes, this situation can cause further divide, but I believe that this situation with George Floyd that's been brought to our attention, been brought into every single home on this planet due to the technology that's here to serve us in many ways, I believe that we can come together as humanity and rise from this and learn and correct ourselves and learn how to move forward from here, because we are all so tense at the moment. Like, you can feel it, right? On social media, when speaking to people, when you're out there, all the protests that are happening all over the world, all that is energetically resonating out. And there's so much love in that, but there's also so much fear in that. And energetically, that is it's going out all over the world. And those of us that are really aware of this and that are sitting and holding that space are like creating a buffer to allow all that energy to come in and diffuse in and to smooth out so we can pump back out that love frequency. So it's really important in this time to work with what's coming up. So how do we work with these extreme parts of us, these extreme beliefs, these extreme thought systems that we have? First of all, if it's so extreme, if the belief that I have that I need to hold this man down because I believe so strongly, so extremely that he is such a threat and he needs to be held down in that way. If I hold that belief that I'm willing to hold somebody down with my knee for 10 minutes, I am so afraid of that person. I am so afraid of what will happen if I didn't do that. And that fear is very real. It's very deep. And it touches on something very old and potentially something that has been accumulating and compounded through the ancestral line, through further back through the ancestral line. And what those parts of us are doing that feel that they need to take this extreme action, whether they're holding somebody down, whether I have a part of me that wants to harm myself or harm another person, whether I have a part of me that has an extreme attitude toward healing myself, for example, it's because there is something really deep and important and vulnerable and tender that is being protected, because all of the parts in our system are here to protect us. Our belief systems, our thought patterns, these energies that reside within us that make up our mind are here to protect us. Protect us from ever opening up that Pandora's box, from ever opening up that wound again, to protect us from ever going near a situation, from even ever being under threat again, because we have a memory deep within us. And maybe it's from the ancestral line, maybe it's from this life, maybe it's from past lives, but we have these memories deep within us of a time when a situation happened and it was so bad and we didn't get the support that we felt we needed at the time. And the system has this memory and never, ever, ever wants to go back there again. Okay? And so this protection is created. And sometimes this is layers and layers and layers of protection. And what is being protected is a traumatized part of us, an energy that resides within us that experienced that trauma, that holds the memory and the burdens of that trauma. And it's locked away. And so when we do this work, when we do this inner work and we're releasing what no longer serves us, what we're actually doing is we are releasing that energy. And you know, a lot of the time it's very slowly, it's bit by bit by bit, because when we're doing this for ourselves, you know, we're holding this space ourselves to do this. It often we do the clearing and it's a little bit slower. But when somebody holds us and we go through a big process like a retreat or a healing retreat, like a yoga teacher training or something like that, and work with plant medicines, then it's like this stuff can really be released, you know, in big chunks of it. But generally speaking, day to day, we're just chipping away at this stuff, okay? So in order to work with these parts, we have to be very careful. We have to really be very, 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 very sensitive, because this protection comes up and it can be triggered like that. It can literally just take a comment or like, you know, somebody standing over there or seeing something on TV or someone speaking to me in a like a little particular way with a particular tone of voice. But this can be triggered in a very easy, quick way. And then when this is triggered, all these layers of protection come up, and sometimes that can completely flood and overwhelm us to the point where we're totally hijacked by this energy. And it takes us time to really come down from that. Many people experience panic attacks, you know, many people experience sometimes just completely dissociating. There are many mechanisms that we have when we become completely overwhelmed and flooded with these emotions and it doesn't feel okay, and we don't feel like we can function normally and naturally. And it's not that we're trying to avoid that, okay? Because if that happens, it's a part of our healing process. It's a part of us seeing what's within us and just how serious this is. And it's a part of us working through all of this. But what we want to do is be very careful and very sensitive, because if that overwhelm is triggered, it can be very challenging to work through. It can be very, very distressing for individuals to work through. So we really want to tread carefully around ourselves and other people in the presence of these emotional energies, extreme energies, extreme parts of us. These extreme beliefs and thought systems. We really have to come to a place to start of really appreciating one another from a completely different place, and accepting and respecting that where there are extreme thoughts and beliefs and expressions and actions, that there is deep wounding and deep trauma that is being deeply protected by many, many layers. And so jabbing at each other, poking each other with a stick isn't going to make things any better. That's going to come right back and be thrown right back into our faces. We actually need to tread very carefully and recognize that that is a protection, and the protection is there to prevent that person from harm, even if the person is expressing that they want to use harm. It's still a way of protecting themselves from harm. And even parts of us that want to end our life, harm ourselves to end our life, believe that it's better to just end things than to keep going through the pain and suffering. And again, it's a protection. So we have to tread very carefully around this, be very, very sensitive, be very compassionate, and draw in our own self energy and anchor into our own self energy to really be able to beam out the compassion for other people, to understand that they are holding trauma and karma and burdens and dense energies. And through our compassion, through expressing to them in different ways that we recognize that they are simply trying to protect themselves, we honor them for that by finding clever little incognito ways of doing that, of just soothing and calming that person and saying, yeah, I really acknowledge and I really understand where you're coming from when they're explaining this from that place of non-judgment. Then what happens is that those people, they are heard. Those extreme parts of them are heard. And over time, they are able to hear themselves more, and others are able to hear them more. And over time, those parts are able to start to relax and lessen a little bit. Zoe has written a comment here, victim mentality is shamed, but that pain has to be okay. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for wrapping that up into a beautiful little sentence phrase there. So powerful. Absolutely. Is the way that we see that person that I just described that has all their protection up and that feels hurt or feels, or whatever it is that's going on with them. We shame that person for their victim mentality, for their racist tendencies, whatever. We have all these labels and we shame them for it. You know, I'm meeting, like, even in spiritual groups, Facebook groups and pages, I'm seeing this all the time. I'm seeing all these memes that are like shaming light workers, with the fake light workers, like shaming, you know, the fake people out there, the racist people out there, the victims out there, like, you know, shaming one another, like it's, you know, that this is what we do now. And this is what I'm talking about, coming to a deeper level of understanding and respect and acceptance of one another, because at the heart of that is trauma and pain and suffering. And yeah, that has to be okay, because only when that's okay can we really move forward. Can that person heal, and can we heal? Because if they don't heal, we don't heal. We are all in this together. We are all part of one. We are eventually all merging into the same energy. And yeah, wow, amazing, so powerful. So we tread carefully, we bring love and we bring compassion. We treat each person, including, you know, the racist, the rapist that we come face to face with on the street, with that sensitivity and that tenderness, and recognize the pain and the suffering and the trauma that they have, that they're holding, and the role that they're playing in that lifetime. Because if we are all one and we've all incarnated to play different roles, to hold up this mirror and to teach each other and teach ourselves, we are playing a role. Those people are playing roles, and we swap these roles around. And in this lifetime, I have this role, but in the next lifetime, I'm going to be the police officer that holds somebody down with my knee until they can't breathe anymore. Maybe that's what I need to go through next lifetime to really fully understand and accept and appreciate some key things that I'm just not getting. I'm not getting through, because karma is a self-organizing system. You know, energy is a self-organizing system. You just get flung where you need to be next. So in the next lifetime, you're just going to get put where you need to be put next, for the energies to correct itself, for us to keep experiencing this energetic spiritual experience our self energy, experience all the different layers of energy and emotion that we have on this training ground on planet Earth, so that the energies that we work with can explore and become more aware and correct themselves. That's ultimately what we are here to do. So Amazing. Thank you so much all for joining. Silvio Vieira Art. Amazing to see you, brother. So happy you're here. So inspired by your artwork. And thank you to everybody else that came, left a comment, showed their love and support and appreciation. Everybody on Facebook and on Instagram. I am just in awe. Louise, hey Louise. I'm so in awe of how this is all coming together. Like, it's pretty incredible. And working through my own shadow, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It's become easier because I've really created a strong, stable foundation for myself, and I can work through it. And I can stay relatively unblended, and and be reflective and do the work and integrate, a little bit faster, and have those open, honest, conscious communication conversations with people around me. And so I'm really grateful for that. But it's really challenging day to day to day. So I really deeply honor you. And I really see you all. And I just want to say that I'm here if you want to send me a message, if you want to ask any questions, if you have any ideas of other themes or topics you want me to explore in some of my transmissions. I would absolutely love to share that. I also want to share an amazing thing that's happening on Saturday. Roop and I, we begin an incredible new journey with an online program that we've created called Holistic Medicine Practitioner Training. And it's for people who are on the path of spiritual growth, personal growth, maybe who have a professional practice, who are really deeply into energy or spiritual practices. And it's all about evolving your own self-care, your own self-practice, your professional practice, and your business as well, if you have one. And we are just sharing everything that we wanted to support, all the kinds of support that we wanted back then, 10, 12 years ago, when we started doing what we started doing. All the tools that we've accumulated over our lifetime of initiations through our indigenous lineages, our spiritual lineages, and through, the last 12, 15 years of professional training and spiritual training and teachings and travels all around the world, and all the amazing tools we've picked up. And we're here to just share it with you. And it is incredibly packed and abundant with topics and themes on trauma-informed practice, consciousness, energy, yoga, pranayama. We have earth-keeping sacred rituals, working with the mind. So all of the stuff that I've been talking about today, if that resonates with you, we're going deeper into that. Working with communities in a conscious way, like so many beautiful ancestral healing, so many beautiful tools we're going to be sharing. And it's actually all about you just taking what you need and going at your own pace. And it's an evergreen course, so it's open all the time. It's going to be incredible, and it starts on Saturday. So if you want to be a part of it, please get in touch. You'll see on the Facebook group and on my Instagram links. All the links are there. The Holistic Medicine Practitioner Training. I'm so excited to go on this journey. And it's one of the main ways that we're going to deliver support to our community. So check it out. So thank you so much. Sending you all love and abundance blessings. Deeply honor you for the processes that you're in. I am so looking forward to connecting with you at a deeper level. So please get in touch. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. Hari Om Tat Sat.